The Old Gods, New Blood, Deadlock major update has finally wrapped up, but we have reason to believe that there should be a lot more coming down the pipeline, potentially very soon. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Deadlocked, and I want to talk about what's been going on in the test server, what we know and don't know, get into some new hero leaks, and get into all the latest news and updates in Deadlock. Let's get right into it. Let's start off though from atop the chandelier, by the way. You can now stand on the chandelier in the hideout, huge news, but let's start off with the new hero leaks or concepts that could be coming to the game pretty soon. The first idea here was tweeted out by Deadlock UA on February 17th about a new hero called Cheshire with an ability called Secret Bag, where Cheshire pulls a teammate into the tunnels of the map, same ones used by Rem. While inside the Secret Bag, Cheshire receives specific buffs. Hezi then retweeted this post, another leaker who we've covered in the past, and saying that he's basically the same size as Rem, like a smaller hero, and is built around the Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland. And then also got into some other really early idea hero. It's throughout names like Ripper, Olympia, Clur, right? So that there are some early concepts being worked on Deadlock's experimental server. And for those that are new to kind of Deadlock news and updates, maybe you're a new player and you started getting into the game and kind of its news cycle, this is a pretty common thing that we'll have new hero concepts introduced either on the test server or even way back. It used to be in hero labs that we would see these new heroes that devs are still toying around with, trying to finalize how they want them to look and how they want them to play before they come to the live server. An early sketch and some ideas about Cheshire's potential abilities also was posted while I was making this video, so I'll include those really quickly here. But Deadlock Project 8 posted that Cheshire Cat, he is a gangster slash banker who had a rat friend that helped him rob banks at night. Eventually the friend was caught, so now Cheshire hides him inside his bag. If you use bag on yourself, the cat hides inside and a rat the size of Rem emerges. The bag shrinks, allowing you to traverse secret passages. This effect is a time-limited ultimate, a wave of spikes. It doesn't have a final name or design yet, but it functions similar to Lady Geist's Toxic Zone. And this is all via Ghost Rider. And we also see a sketch image of this. I don't know if it was just made based on the descriptions given, but we already have some like seemingly conflicting ideas about what this character does. So again, worth reiterating that it's a work in progress, but just wanted to make sure I included all the information out there about Cheshire. So the question of when are we going to get these heroes or when will they release is a pretty complicated one and a difficult one to answer because it also hinges on what Valve want to do next with the game. Now, new heroes are always going to be a part of this game. That's probably why we're seeing some early concepts now, because go ahead and get started on them early. But I do think that Valve are going to turn their attention to something slightly different probably in the coming months. And I have some interesting rumors to get into to kind of talk about the specifics of what that could be. So to get us started here, I want to talk about a post that Minesweeper made. This was actually back on February 9th, and I hadn't had a chance to talk about it until now, but I do want to talk about this. So he posted an image of basically updates and the amount of sheer updates to the Deadlock experimental server with some dates as well. That's what you're seeing as far as the image on screen goes. But let's talk about what he posted as well. So FYI, they are far from done making additions to the game. Expect changes to the hideout, a better tutorial, cosmetics, and expanded lore within the game that you can interact with on a higher level than visual novels. Big claim there. I suspect we will see a sizable patch soon after the heroes are finished, dropping with several minor patches along the way until we get the brunt of it and the next major content drop sometime around April. I actually also tweeted kind of like a list of some educated guesses of what we could get next. Mine truly were just educated guesses, but I kind of had the idea that we might get this in March. But I think something in March, April, May, June, July, August, knowing Valve, who knows. But let's talk about what Minesweeper specifically talking about here, because I have heard some of these similar rumors. In particular, we're talking about the hideout. We just got the chandelier. You can stand on the chandelier now. It's pretty awesome. Rem has his own room in the hideout. And so to me, Valve are already showing us, even with just these subtle little things, and obviously all the new hero teasers in the hideout, whatnot, that they are going to use the hideout as a means of storytelling and interacting with characters and learning more about them. Obviously, we get this with Rem on a small scale, right? We see Rem's cute little room, and this is kind of like our first tip of the cap from developers that you're going to interact with heroes and their lore through the hideout. Now, the hideout's a really interesting place, right? There are elevators. There's an elevator right here. There are doors, leading to new rooms. There's already these little hints throughout the hideout that we're probably going to be able to move around and interact with heroes in really unique and interesting ways. So I would kind of iterate, and I would kind of again, echo what Minesweeper's saying in his post here, that we can expect a lot more, in particular, coming to the hideout in the next update. It's worth noting here that this is what I would still classify as a rumor though, so everything we're covering in this video does feel a little bit thinner as far as source material than what we've covered in the past, And this is part of the reason why the news has been coming out less frequently, at least from my channel, because it feels like developers have done a pretty good job stopping some of the leaks. I don't know if that is removing sources from the test server that they've found out to be leakers. I'm not exactly sure, but it feels like, one, that has been an impetus from developers recently. They want to keep leaks from coming out a little bit more than maybe they used to. You know, you think back to like last May when the original Deathy leak happened, and there was a ton of leaks after that. And it felt like that was at a point in the game's history where developers, it's not that they didn't care, but they were probably a little bit more okay with leaks coming out because it was just a smaller player base, less people were seeing it, less people cared. Now, a lot of people care. Deadlock's player base has shot up, and it's really leveled off at like a much higher number than it was previous. And so there's a lot more eyes on the game, and they're moving kind of what I really believe to be kind of like their next step, which is probably like an open beta of some kind. But again, a lot of what we're talking about has been rumors so far because of the removal of some of those sources probably from the test server and an inability to get information like maybe we used to. But regardless, when I put together all of the updates to the experimental server, early rumors about new heroes, and then I kind of viewed that through the lens of we just got this massive update that was released on playdeadlock.com and kind of felt like this huge step for the game, it seems really clear to me that developers are not going to slow down from here on out. And I want to make this point earnestly as I close the video because it felt like, you know, if we look back a year ago, developers were okay approaching this game a very different kind of way. Leaks were coming out, there'd be longer gaps without significant updates, and ever since, especially the update before this last one in August, it really feels like we've been on a different pace. And I think that that pace is going to continue into 2026 and into the spring and the summer, where I do think we will have more updates more frequently in Deadlock. But at the end of the day, that's just my claim. I don't know for certain. One thing it feels for sure though, and it really does feel like Deadlock has taken kind of its proverbial next step already. So even if there isn't an open beta or something like that for a while, it does feel like Deadlock is a significantly different game, and the developers are approaching it as such, especially in light of this last update. So, and just as a quick final thing before we close, I haven't mentioned patch notes or balancing much. All the heroes got released and were all pretty overtuned and have since all gotten nerfed, so I think there might still be one or two more patches to come across, but essentially I wanted to kind of wait until the dust settled a little bit before talking about hero balancing and guides. But I also just feel like I've been a little bit slower on the content recently. I'm going to blame the update for that. I've got some live stuff going on too, but I've just really been enjoying playing the update. And so like it has been a really consuming thing. Street Brawl is incredible. All the new heroes are incredible. And I feel really strongly that this update is such a positive step forward for Deadlock. But in any case, at the end of the day, let me know what you all are thinking about with this update, the leaks, everything in between. Would be very curious to hear in the comments. Stay tuned for more educational and guide content from me. I want to start making more content for new players, especially as we kind of get into Deadlock's next step. I already feel like there are a ton of new players coming to the game, and there's going to be so many more coming in the months to come. So, in any case, thank you all so much for tuning in. From our house to yours, we'll see you all next time here at Dead Unlocked.